I'd like to reiterate the comments of the previous coaches on the excitement, number one for the CCHA, the institutions involved, what the presidents and athletic directors did to make the commitment to hockey and not just on individual campuses, but all of them league wide, and obviously what's happening with the league office and knowing Don and working for Don and having a history with Don. He's always done things first class. He's always done things the right way. It's never been for the benefit of Don. It's been for the benefit of whether it was Fairbanks, whether it was Colorado College or Minnesota, and now the CCHA, and the rest of the staff has done an incredible job. So moving on to our team, in 4 years, the previous 4 years that I've had a chance to be the coach, we just haven't had seniors. And we've been every year you try to get older and you feel like you're going to get older and you think you can get older and something happens. And, this year we have 10 seniors and 5 super seniors. So we have some veteran leadership in our room. And, one thing that we talk to the team about every year is at some point, guys, we want to give the room over to you. And, the goal of that each year is usually around Christmas. You start handing the reins over to the players, but with the veteran leadership we have and the amount of guys that have been around the block and different experiences at different schools. We have 4 transfer students that have completely different experiences last year from the players that were here. So every scenario that's kind of come up along the way, hopefully somebody's seen that. And that's going to be a big part of where we're going. And then the depth of our program is as good as it's ever been. We do have some top end players. Andre Gontos led the league in scoring. Joe Nardi was third in the league in scoring. We have some guys at the top that, and there's other guys there that Vanderbeck and Kallela and some guys that have played here last year. But we have some depth, and we've been lacking that in the past few years. And I think it's an interesting stat. We've had the league's leading scorer 3 years in a row, 3 different players. But it always felt like whatever line that guy was on, we were relying upon. And this year, I do think that we have some depth scoring. Rico DiMatteo coming in at Christmas changed the trajectory of our season, and hopefully he's going to push our program back to the right direction. So we're strong at each position, and we're excited about what the possibility of this team can be.
Okay, with that being said, we'll open it up to media. Again, please utilize the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. Remember to unmute yourself, and please state your name and affiliation. Start things off, Ryan.
Hey, Grant. Tyrell was injured against Michigan Tech kind of to close out the regular season. How's he doing right now? And is that kind of like a rallying point for the team going into the exhibition game?
Yeah, Tyrell is a player that we added at Christmas last year, and we added him ironically due to injuries on our back end. And Tyrell came in and over the course of a month turned into one of our top kind of defensive defensemen. And when he broke his leg, it really affected our program. And having him back and having Tanner Vesio back, who Tanner hasn't played in a year and a half. He broke his jaw towards the end of the year, his freshman year. And, last year, blew his ankle out like the 3rd or 4th game of the year. So those are, a top pair defenseman in Vesio, and Bush was a top 4 defenseman. So having those guys back really, really makes a difference. And Tyrell's coming along very well. We've been cautious with him. I always probably am over cautious with guys in the preseason because, guys want to go and they're anxious and they're excited to get going, but you have to remind them we need them in October and November, and we got to make sure that we're resting so we can be ready for that.
Dave Dennis.
Hey, Coach, long time no see. Last year, it seemed that whenever the Wildcats would get healthy from a touch of COVID, by the time that your team would get healthy, then the team coming up, Huntsville was a good example. You'd have problems getting the game scheduled on the other end. what kind of challenges did that present, and how pleased were you with with what the team showed at the end of the year and then the nice little run that you made in the playoffs?
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, Dave. I don't want to play the poor us card, because I think we were fortunate that were able to compete and we were able to play. There was lots of teams that weren't, across college hockey, and within our league there were many challenges people had, and as the year went, I think as a league, as a team, as an individual, you learn to kind of roll with it a little bit. But again, like when we got Rico in, it kind of changed, where we were going, and I felt like down the stretch we were a pretty darn good team, and we could go into any rink or play anybody, and we had a chance to win. The thing that's interesting is there's been 3 championship games in our league. I shouldn't say our league, in over the time that I've been the coach at Northern. One year we didn't have one because of COVID. We've played in that game twice, and we've lost both times. And the one constant besides Coach Poole and I is Joe Nardi. And standing there with Joe, giving Joe a hug in Mankato after losing the championship game. I thought it might be the last time that I'd have him. And I told him I loved him, and he was a great Wildcat. And, I just felt sick because he's given everything that he could possibly give. He's turned himself into a very good player. To have him have another shot at being able to win a championship, I think is something that has kind of bled through our team a little bit. And not just Joe, because the guys that were here last year, they still have that scar from that game too. So I do think that there's an understanding of what it takes to win. There's an understanding that it's challenging and difficult to win, and there's things you have to do to give yourself a chance to win. And hopefully we can understand that earlier this year than we did last year.
Jess Myers.
Brent, on that topic of the older guys, this is obviously a different year with COVID and the rules changes and all of that, but what kind of impact do you see those fifth-year super seniors having, not only on your team, but just on college hockey in general, that extra year of experience that a lot of guys are bringing?
Well, Jess, I think there's 2 ways that you can look at that. I think the players that stayed in your program will have an immediate impact from the beginning of the year. Nobody knows your team better than like for us, Joe Nardi is an extension of our coaching staff. This is his 5th year here. He's been a captain, 3 years in a row. He's been a top 6 center for 5 years. So he's played in very important situations, pressure pack situations. This is year 4 for Ben Newhouse. So guys internally should have an impact right away. The guys that you have brought in, externally, you hope that, they can find some traction right away, because obviously you felt like they were players that could come in and make a difference in your program, even though it was only 1 year. So I think the teams that are going to have success with players that they've acquired from the transfer portal are the teams that can acclimate those players the best. And then not just the staff, but the team. Do those guys feel part of the team? Do those guys feel like they're not outsiders? Do those guys feel like they can speak up? Because again, they have, these guys have great life experiences. So I think that's going to be a real important factor in super senior transfers having an impact. How quick can you get them acclimated in your team?
Time for one more. Dave Ellis.
Hey, Coach, Dave Ellis from TV6 and Fox UP. You've been talking about these players from other programs and their influence off the ice. When they do come in, are they just plugging holes into your system, or are you adapting what they do best to maximize their impact when they play?
Yeah. Hi, Dave. Well, I think for us, there was a strategic plan on the type of player we wanted to go after. We were looking for a center, and we had a front row seat for 4 years with Hampus Eriksson, and knowing what he can do intimately. He was somebody that we felt could really help us down the middle. We needed a top 6 left winger, maybe somebody that we felt could run the flank on the power play. Hank Crone was a player that I've known since Hank's been 15, just evaluating him, watching him his career path. So I do think that the guys up front, they were more strategic. This is what we need. This is what we're looking for. And those guys fit the bill. And then on the back end, I mean, if you look at our D-corps, we have 2 players in our D-corps that really have college hockey experience, and Mike Van Unen and Ben Newhouse. Tim Merkel is a sophomore, Boucher is a sophomore, Vesio is a junior, but has only played really half a year of hockey. So Colby Enns is a sophomore. So we just didn't have experience. So adding Bo Hansen and Trevor Cosgrove, guys with over 100 games of college hockey, was really important for us to give us some experience back there. So, I don't know how other teams had attacked that, the needs that they were acquiring, but I know for us that we had ideas what we wanted to go and try get, and the guys that we got are exactly what we were looking for.
Grant, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Tom.
Grant Potulny of the Northern Michigan Wildcats.